Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin. Wabihi nasta'in ala umuri dunya wa din. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin. Nabiina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yaumiddin amma ba'd. Allahumma alimna ma yanfa'una wa anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa zidna ilma. All praises due to Allah, peace and blessings upon the Prophet and his family, his companions, and his followers until the day of judgment. Dear brothers and sisters, we are on the third meeting of our fortnightly lecture in English, studying the book of Al-Imam An-Nawawi, which studying the book of Arba'in of An-Nawawi. And inshallah, today we are going to read the next hadith, which is the third hadith. So Al-Imam An-Nawawi said, Al-Hadith Sadis, the third hadith. It was narrated from Abu Abdurrahman, Abu Abdurrahman, Abdullah bin Umar. Yeah. So the third hadith was narrated from, and meaning from, and then Abu Abdurrahman. Yeah, it was narrated from Abu Abdurrahman. Abu Abdurrahman is the name of kunyah of Abdullah. So the kunyah, Abu Abdurrahman, meaning the father of Abdurrahman. Yeah, Abi mean father, and Abdurrahman is the son of Abdullah. So it was narrated from Abu Abdurrahman, Abdullah bin Umar. So his original name, his real name is Abdullah ibni, son of Umar ibn al-Khattab. So Abdullah is the son of Umar ibn al-Khattab. If you remember the first two hadiths in Arba'in An-Nawawi, it were narrated from Umar ibn al-Khattab. So the third hadith narrated from his son Abdullah radiyallahu anhuma. May Allah be pleased with both of them. Anhuma meaning both of them. قال Abdullah said, سمعت, I heard, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, I heard that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam yaqul, said. Yeah, so Abdullah ibn Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhuma, he heard directly from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What did the Prophet say? Bunya al-Islamu ala khamsin. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, al-Islam bunya, built. Yeah, al-Islam built upon 5 pillars. So al-Islam bunya al-Islam ala khamsin. Islam was built upon 5, meaning 5 pillars. What are they? The five pillars of Islam. The first one is shahadati an la ilaha illallah. Shahadah means testimony. Allah ilaha illallah, that no, la mean no, ilah, God, illallah, except Allah. Yeah, so the first pillars of Islam is testimony that no God worthy of worship except Allah. وأن محمد رسول الله, and the testimony about Muhammad Rasulullah. Testimony that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Wa iqami salah, and to establish the prayer. Iqam meaning to establish. As-salah mean prayer. Wa ita is zakah. Ita meaning pay. Az-zakah, zakah or charity we call it in English. Wa hajj al-bayt, and to perform hajj, to perform pilgrimage we call it in English. And then the last one is Sawmi Ramadan. Sawm meaning fasting. Ramadan mean Ramadan. To fast in the month of Ramadan. Rawahu al-Bukhari. It was narrated by al-Bukhari. Wa Muslimun. It was narrated also by Imam Muslim. So, dear brothers and sisters, respected elders, rahimani wa rahimakumullah jami'an, dear listeners, wherever you are, if you remember the second hadith, the hadith of Jibril, we already mentioned about these 5 pillars of Islam. While the Jibril came to the Prophet ﷺ and he asked about al-Islam, and then the Prophet ﷺ, he answered Jibril by saying the same sentences, by saying that Islam and tashhada an la ilaha illallah until the end, which contains the 5 pillars of Islam. So, and Imam An-Nawawi, he brings this hadith as the third hadith, is to re-emphasize the 5 pillars of Islam. Because the meaning of this hadith is already contained here in the second hadith of Jibril. So, inshallah, we are going to take some benefits from this hadith and also from the previous hadith, the second hadith, the hadith of Jibril. If you remember, the previous hadith, Jibril came and he asked a couple of questions to the Prophet ﷺ. The first one, he asked about al-Islam, and then he asked about al-Iman, and then he asked also about al-Ihsan. So we're going to explain about these 3 terminologies, al-Islam, al-Iman, and al-Ihsan. We mentioned it, or this term was mentioned in the second hadith, and also al-Islam is mentioned in the third hadith. So if we can, if you would like to describe the relationship between al-Islam, al-Iman, and al-Ihsan, we can describe it as a triangle, or triangle, sorry. So this triangle consists of 3 layers. Okay. The first one, the bottom one, is al-Islam, Islam. And then the middle one is al-Iman, or Iman. And then the top one is Ihsan. So the first layer, or the first level, is Islam. As we mentioned before in the hadith of Jibril, we read it together. Islam consists of 5 pillars. Also, it was narrated in the third hadith, the hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar. So Islam consists of 5 pillars, and then al-Iman consists of 6 pillars. And then al-ihsan, the scholars, they said it doesn't have any pillars like al-iman, al-ihsan, but instead ihsan consists of 2 levels. 2 levels. يعني المشاهدة and مراقبة. We're gonna discuss about this in detail later on, inshallah. مراقبة. طيب. So the first level is Islam. People who perform al-Islam, people who perform these 5 pillars, we call him as a Muslim. Okay, so Muslim meaning people who perform Islam. The people of Islam, we call him as a Muslim. While people who perform al-Iman, the people of Iman, we call them as a mu'min. And then the top level, people who perform al-ihsan, the people of ihsan, we call them as muhsin. And I need to mention that a Muslim is not necessarily a mu'min. A Muslim, not necessarily a mu'min. A mu'min, he has to be a Muslim. Likewise, a mu'min is not necessarily a muhsin, because this is the top level. So a mu'min, not necessarily a muhsin, but a muhsin, he has to be a mu'min, he has to be a Muslim. While a Muslim, he's not necessarily a mu'min, not necessarily as well a muhsin. So there are 3 levels, and Islam is the first level, and then the higher level is al-ihsan, while al-iman is in the middle one. Why a Muslim is not necessarily a mu'min? To give you understanding about that principle, I would like to explain about the term of Islam and al-iman first. So we have a term of Islam here, and then we also have a terminology of Iman. So what does it mean, Islam, and what does it mean, al-Iman? The scholars of Islam, they said that al-Islam and al-Iman, if these both terminology, they are on the same context, on the same sentence, the meaning is different. The meanings are different. But if they stand alone, we just mention Islam, we just found a term of Islam alone in one context or in one sentence, without mentioning al-Iman, or we just heard the terminology of al-Iman in one sentence or one context without mentioning al-Islam. So in this case, the meaning of Islam and al-Iman is the same. I repeat, if we find Islam and Iman in the same context in one hadith, for example, the hadith of Jibril, we already read it. The hadith of Jibril, the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned about al-Islam and Iman in one hadith, in one context. So in this case, in this hadith, the meaning of Islam and the Iman is different. But if you find another hadith or another ayah or another explanation of the scholars, they just mention al-Islam, it covers as well the meaning of al-Iman. The meaning is the same. Cover entire of Islam, the entire of religion of Islam. Or if you heard the word of Iman from one hadith or from one ayah of the Quran, Iman there also covers the meanings of the al-Islam. So if we mention it in the same context as al-Islam and al-Iman, they have different meaning. What does it mean? Al-Islam meaning outward physical actions or physical deeds, while al-Iman meaning inward deed of heart. Or in another name, Iman is all about belief. So this is different between al-Islam and al-Iman. Islam tends to be an outward physical deed. For example, the third hadith of Imam An-Nawawi, we just read it when the Prophet ﷺ explained al-Islam, يعني أن تشهد أن لا إله إلا شهادة أن لا إله إلا الله, the testimony that no God worthy of worship except Allah, establish prayer, to pay zakah, to perform hajj, and then to fast during the month of Ramadan. All of them are the physical deeds. Yeah, it's something that outward of your body. While al-Iman, as we already read it in the hadith of Jabril, when the Prophet ﷺ was asked about al-Iman, he said, أن تؤمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسوله. Until the end. Yeah. So al-Iman there, the Prophet ﷺ said, and tu'mina, believe, and we know that belief is in our heart. That's why the scholars, they said al-Iman, if mentioned in the conjunction of Islam, the meaning tends to be the belief in your heart. So that's why we mentioned before, a Muslim, he is not necessarily a mu'min, because it is very, very possible that someone, he testify with shahadatain, yeah, and then he perform as-salah and he pays zakah while he has no iman in his heart. Yeah, he doesn't believe in the angels, he doesn't believe in the creed of Allah and all the particles of al-Iman. So it's very possible. That's why we said that Muslim not necessarily a mu'min, while mu'min, he has to be a Muslim. So this is about the Islam and al-Iman. While al-Islam related to the physical actions, while al-Iman related to the actions of the heart. What about al-Ihsan now? So al-Ihsan, yeah. Linguistically, al-Ihsan meaning perfecting something. Yeah, perfecting. Al-Ihsan meaning perfecting something. So al-Ihsan is related to both of this, physical actions and actions of the heart. So al-Ihsan meaning if someone wants to be a muhsin, he want to get the higher level of these the degrees of Islam, he has to be perfect in his physical deeds, and he has to be also perfect in his actions of the heart. Yeah, so al-ihsan related to the physical actions and then the action of the heart as well. So this is the relationship between al-ihsan, al-islam, and al-iman, and al-iman and al-ihsan. The 3 degrees of the 3 degrees in Islam. Okay. And then next we are going to discuss a bit more about the al-Islam, al-Iman, and al-Ihsan. So al-Islam, Islam consists of 5 pillars. The first pillar is testimony. Testimony of what? The first one is there is no God worthy of worship. Except Allah. And then that the Muhammad is the messenger of Allah and the slave of Allah. So the first testimony is the testimony about Allah is no God worthy of worship except Allah. So in another word, we have to realize Tawheed. Yeah, we have to realize Tawheed. We have to worship Allah alone and do not associate Him with any kind of partners. So this is the meaning of Tawheed. Yeah, worshipping Allah without making any partner to Him. And then the second testimony is about our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu. That Prophet sallallahu, he is the messenger of Allah, meaning we have to follow him, and the Muhammad sallallahu is the slave of Allah, meaning it is not permissible to worship him. He is the slave of Allah. He is not Allah. He is not God. Meaning that we have to, we are not allowed to worship or to associate Muhammad with any kind of worship. And then the second pillars of Islam is as-salah, prayer. The prayer here is the 5 times daily prayer, because this is the prayers that are obligatory upon us. So the prayer here meaning 5 times daily prayer. And then the second pillars of Islam is az-zakah. Az-zakah. Zakah is kind of charity, we call it in English. We take 2.5% from the total amount of someone's wealth if this wealth already reach some of the specific standard and reach the specific time. So both prayer and zakah, it is they are obligation upon all of Muslim
Muslim who deny to pay zakah
meaning he can fall into one of the nullifier of Islam. Yeah, meaning we are if someone refuses to pay zakah, it is possible that he will become a disbeliever. And then the fourth pillar of Islam is fasting. Yeah, during the month of Ramadan, which means that the number of the day that someone has to fast is 29 or 30 days. Yeah. And then the last one is Hajj, to perform Hajj. Yeah, this is an obligation upon every Muslim once in a life. Just once in a life. So these are the 5 pillars of Islam. And then the pillars of Iman, as we already mentioned, Iman consists of 6 pillars. To believe in Allah, tu'mina billah wa malaikatihi, angels, wa kutubihi, books, wa rusulihi, messengers, and then wal yawmil akhir, the day of judgment, and then the last one is the decree of Allah, al-qadar, decree of Allah. So the first pillars of Iman is to believe in Allah. To believe in Allah consists of 3 parts. To believe in his oneness, or his wahdaniyah, and his oneness in terms of rububiyyah, and then to believe in his oneness in terms of uluhiyyah or ibadah, and to believe in his oneness in terms of al-asma wa sifat, in terms of his names and attributes. So this is the first pillar of Iman. If someone want to have a perfect Iman in Allah, then he has to believe in oneness of Allah in these 3 parts, in rububiyyah, uluhiyyah, and names and attributes. Uluhiyyah means in the term of worships. So someone has to worship Allah alone, and rububiyyah meaning Allah is one in terms of the creations. Allah the only creator, Allah who only can give life and can give someone death, and Allah is the only one who provide a rizq to his slaves. And then also the pillars of Islam is to believe in angels. To believe in angels, we believe that Allah created angels, and the angels, they are we don't know the exact number of the angels, but they are very, very much. And one of the angels that we have to believe is the angel of Jibreel, that we already mentioned it in the second hadith. And then the third one is to believe, and the angels is something that unseen. We cannot see angels. This is the part of belief. This is the part of belief in angels. We cannot see them in their real form, but with the permission of Allah, sometimes the angels, they come to the earth and they change their form into a human being or into any other creatures, so we can see them. So we can see them if they change their form. But in their real form, human being, all of us, we cannot see the angels in this dunya. And the angels, they stay in the heavens, in the skies. We believe that there are 7 layers or 7 levels of heavens. Each level of heavens, there are plenty of angels staying there. And then the third one is to believe in the books of Allah. We believe that every time Allah send a messenger to the earth, they bring a book from Allah. They bring a book from Allah. For example, the Prophet of Muhammad, our messenger, he bring Al-Quran. So this is the book of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He received it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another example, the Nabi Allah Isa, the messenger of Allah Isa alayhi salam, Jesus, he brings a book as well while Allah sends him to the earth, and his book, we call it as Injil. And all of the messengers, we believe that they come to the earth by the commandment of Allah, bringing a book from Allah. So if you ask how many books Allah revealed to the earth, it relates to the number of messenger. It relates to the Iman, to the Iman of Iman with messenger, belief with messengers. So the 5 pillars, we continue. The 5 pillars is to believe in messengers. We believe that the messengers, they are allowed, not only the messenger of ours, which is the Prophet sallallahu the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but instead there are a lot of messenger before the messenger of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is a narration that was narrated from Imam Ahmad, saying that the number of messenger is around 350 messengers, while Muhammad is the last one. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the last messenger. There is no messenger after after Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the number of messengers in one hadith, it was said to be 315. From Nuh, the first messenger is Nuh, and the last messenger is Muhammad. And we have to believe as well, the most noble messengers is the messenger of ours, which is the messenger of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the most noble messenger. So if you ask how many books already revealed by Allah to the earth, if we believe that the number of messenger was sent by Allah is 315, then the number of book is the same. It's around 315. So Quran is one of them. Quran is one of them. And then the books that that Allah mentioned in the Quran is, there is Injil, and there is Tawrah as well, and there is Zabur, the book of Dawood, and there is the book of Ibrahim, and the book of Ibrahim wa Musa, Suhufi Ibrahim wa Musa. And then the 5 pillars of Islam, of Iman, the 5 pillars of Iman is the day of judgment, to believe the day of judgment. So we have to believe there is an end to the world, there is an end to the earth. Allah there is the last day. Yeah, there will be a last day where Allah will judge all his slaves. And then the last one is Iman with al-Qadr, yeah, to believe in the decree of Allah. And then the highest level, yeah, in the 3 degrees of Islam, yeah, is Islam, Iman, and Ihsan. We mentioned already that Ihsan, like the scholar says, consists of 2 levels. Ihsan consists of 2 levels. The first one is Mushahada. This is the best level, Mushahada. And then the second one is Muqarrabah. Muqarrabah. So the best level is Mushahada, and then below that is the level of Muqarrabah. And these 2 levels were taken from the saying of the Prophet ﷺ when the Jibril asked, "Akhbirni anil ihsan," tell me about al-ihsan. And then the Prophet ﷺ he replied, "An ta'budallaha ka'annaka tarahu." Yeah, the first level of ihsan is An ta'budallaha ka'annaka tarahu. You worship Allah as if you see Him, as if you see Allah in front of you. So you pray, you perform salah, like as though or as if you see Allah in front of you while you are performing the salah. You're reading Quran as if you can see Allah in front of you, watching you while you are reading Quran. So if you can going up to this level, and then we can call you as a muhsin, yeah, with the highest level, in the level of mushahada. But below that level, if you cannot see Him, like the Prophet ﷺ said, فَإِن لَمْ تَرَاهُ, if you cannot see Allah in front of you while you are performing ibadah, while you are worshipping Allah, فَإِنَّهُ يَرَاكَ. So this is the level of muqarrabah. فَإِنَّهُ يَرَاكَ. You have to remember that Allah always sees you. Allah always sees you. So that's why we call it muqarrabah. We are we always feel watched by Allah. Yeah, Allah always sees us, wherever we are. So this is about al-ihsan, yeah, the highest level in the degree of Islam. Someone who perform ihsan, like the Prophet ﷺ said, "An ta'budallaha ka'annaka tarahu," you worship Allah as though or as if you see Allah in front of you. فَإِن لَمْ تَكُنْ تَرَهُ فَإِنَّهُ يَرَاكَ. If you cannot see Allah in front of you, so فَإِنَّهُ يَرَاكَ. You have to remember that Allah always watching you. So that's the level of muqarrabah. People who perform it, we call him as a muhsin, and muhsin is the highest level in the degree of Islam after mu'min and after a Muslim. I think that's it today. What we discussed today, we finish here. وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. والله تعالى أعلم. Allah knows best. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. ثم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.